Admiral Zexthul of the Hegemony Coalition watched the tactical display with growing unease. The human fleet hung in space before them like a constellation of death. 200 warships arranged in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with an alien menace that made his chitinous hide crawl. "Just one fleet," he muttered to his aide, Commander Vorthak. "Intelligence assured us they had only one fleet capable of deep space operations." The hegemony had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia. 57 species had bent the knee to their superior technology in overwhelming numbers. The humans should have been no different, a primitive species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel a century ago. Yet here they were, matching the Coalition's finest battlegroup ship for ship. "Admiral," his communications officer chittered nervously, "the humans are broadcasting on all frequencies. Put it through." The hologram flickered to life, revealing a human female with steel-gray hair and eyes like winter storms. Her uniform was crisp, military, and bore insignia that Zexthul's xenobiologists had identified as indicating high rank. "I am Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force," she said, her voice carrying across space with unsettling calm. "You have entered human space without authorization and ignored our warnings to withdraw. This is your final opportunity to leave peacefully." Zexthul's mandibles clicked in what his species considered laughter. "Human, you face the might of the Hegemony Coalition. We have conquered worlds before your species learned to make fire. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "You're right about one thing, Admiral. We are young. That's precisely why you should be afraid." The transmission cut. Zexthul turned to his tactical officer. "Analysis? Their ships appear to be heavily modified civilian vessels, Admiral. Hull plating is improvised. Weapon placements are unconventional. However," the officer paused, "their energy signatures are off the charts. I'm reading power outputs that shouldn't be possible for vessels of those sizes. Impossible. Begin the attack." The Coalition fleet unleashed hell. Plasma cannons that had melted the defenses of dozens of worlds opened fire, their brilliant beams lancing across space toward the human formation. Missile swarms followed, each warhead capable of cracking a moon. The humans didn't dodge. Instead, their ships seemed to absorb the attack. Where Zexthul expected to see explosions and debris, he saw only a strange shimmer across the human hulls. And then the impossible happened. The humans fired back, but they didn't fire weapons. They fired physics. The first human ship discharged, something that bent space itself, sending a Coalition destroyer tumbling into a gravity well that hadn't existed seconds before. Another human vessel released a wave of energy that simply stopped matter at the molecular level. 3 Coalition cruisers went from full combat speed to absolute zero in an instant, their crews crushed by forces beyond comprehension. "What in the void are they using?" Zexthul demanded. "Sir, I'm reading weapon signatures unlike anything in our databases. They're manipulating fundamental forces. Gravity, electromagnetic fields, even quantum states. This technology is impossible." "Nothing is impossible," Zexthul roared, even as another squadron of his ships vanished into what appeared to be a localized black hole. "All ships, full assault! Overwhelm them with numbers!" That's when Admiral Chen appeared on his screen again, uninvited. "Admiral," she said, and now there was something resembling pity in her voice, "you're operating under a fundamental misunderstanding. You see, when humanity discovered we weren't alone in the universe, we didn't celebrate. We panicked. On the tactical display, more Coalition ships died to impossible weapons. We learned that every other species in the galaxy had followed the same technological path: better materials, bigger guns, faster ships. Incremental improvements on the same basic concepts. Do you know what humans did instead?" Zexthul watched in horror as his flagship's escort vessels were systematically dismantled by weapons that rewrote the laws of nature. "We threw out everything. We thought we knew about warfare and started over. We asked ourselves, what if we could weaponize everything? What if every fundamental force, every physical law, every quantum phenomenon could be turned into an instrument of war? A human ship fired something that looked like crystallized lightning, and an entire coalition battle line simply ceased to exist. You've been fighting wars the same way for 3,000 years, Admiral. We've had 100 years to imagine new ways to kill. Zexthul's fleet was dying. Of his original 200 vessels, barely 50 remained operational. The humans had lost exactly 0 ships. "Retreat!" he ordered. "All ships, emergency jump to—" "Admiral," his sensor operator's voice was barely a whisper. "You need to see this." The tactical display updated, and Zexthul felt his 3 hearts stop beating simultaneously. Emerging from hyperspace around them were 10 more human fleets. Not 10 more ships, 10 more complete fleets, each one as large and impossibly armed as the first. 2,000 human warships now surrounded the coalition's broken formation. Admiral Chen's voice filled the bridge one final time. "You wanted to see humanity's military might, Admiral. That first fleet? They were our archaeologists, the university researchers who've been digging through our pre-FTL weapons programs and jury-rigging the interesting bits onto cargo haulers." Zexthul stared at the display as more impossible human vessels decloaked around them. "The other 10 fleets represent our actual military, ships designed from the ground up by people who've spent their entire careers thinking of new ways to break the universe and weaponize the pieces." "Surrender," Zexthul whispered. "Smart choice," Chen replied. "Welcome to the new galaxy, Admiral. Humanity hopes you enjoy your stay." As coalition ships powered down their weapons across the system, Zexthul realized that the age of the hegemony was over. The humans hadn't just won a battle, they had introduced an entirely new kind of warfare to the galaxy, and they were very, very good at it.